Imagine a world where the summer of 2025 is not just a season, but a stark wake-up call, where climate change is no longer a distant threat, but a present-day crisis reshaping our landscapes, straining our resources, and testing the limits of human endurance. This is the reality we face today, as evidenced by three critical developments that span the realms of climate science, natural landmarks, and urban water management. But here's where it gets controversial. While some may argue that these changes are part of natural cycles, the data tells a different story. The latest State of the Climate report, released by the American Meteorological Society, paints a grim picture of our planet's accelerating fever. The year 2024 has been recorded as the hottest on record in terms of global sea surface temperatures, with unprecedented humidity levels making the heat even more dangerous. Humidity, often overlooked, is not just an inconvenience. It transforms warmth into a suffocating hazard. The report found that the average number of excessively humid days climbed by 35.6 days worldwide, almost 10 days more than the previous record set just a year earlier. This is not just about discomfort. It's a public health emergency in the making. High humidity impedes the body's ability to cool itself, pushing vulnerable populations, particularly in the tropics, coastal zones, and densely populated urban areas, towards life-threatening heat stress. In South Asia, parts of Africa, and even southern Europe, this means more days when simply stepping outside could become a health risk. For example, in cities like Mumbai or Lagos, the combination of high temperatures and humidity can make outdoor activities dangerous for the elderly, children, and those with pre-existing health conditions. But climate change doesn't just show up in temperature charts and statistical tables. Sometimes its warnings come in the form of slow, almost imperceptible erasures of the natural world. Take the Heart of Voh in New Caledonia, a mangrove formation whose distinctive heart-shaped outline became a globally recognized symbol of ecological beauty. This natural wonder is fading due to rising sea levels, which are altering the salinity of the soil and changing the mangrove's growth patterns. Ecologists warn that within a few decades, the heart may lose its form entirely. For local communities, this change is not just symbolic. Mangroves serve as vital buffers against coastal erosion and nurseries for marine life. Their loss is a direct threat to livelihoods as well as to biodiversity. For those who have gazed at aerial photographs of the Heart of Voh, its transformation is a sobering reminder that climate change will not only redraw maps, it will erase the edges we thought were timeless. And this is the part most people miss. Climate change is not just about distant glaciers or polar bears. It's about the water in our taps and the air we breathe. Stockholm, a city more accustomed to the challenges of cold than to the burdens of drought, is now asking its 2 million residents to conserve water after one of the hottest Julys in a century. Lake Mälaren, a vital freshwater source, is under stress. What makes this more unsettling is the broader context. Water scarcity is not just a problem for arid nations or desert cities. Climate scientists stress that extreme heat events like this one are now at least 10 times more likely because of human-driven warming, meaning Stockholm's plea for water restraint may not be an anomaly, but a preview of summers to come. Taken together, these stories reveal the three faces of the climate crisis: measurable and escalating physical changes to the atmosphere and oceans, the slow erosion of ecological treasures that double as cultural symbols, and the disruption of basic systems from water supplies to public health in places that once felt secure. The numbers in the State of the Climate report demand urgent attention from policymakers. The rise in excessively humid days is not a mere curiosity for meteorologists. It is a public health emergency in waiting. Heat and humidity together push wet bulb temperatures closer to thresholds where even healthy individuals can no longer survive without cooling assistance. Without aggressive emission cuts, this threshold will be crossed more frequently and in more places, potentially triggering mass displacement from currently habitable zones. The Heart of Voh's slow transformation serves as a metaphor for loss that is both intimate and planetary. Like the bleached corals of the Great Barrier Reef or the shrinking glaciers of the Himalayas, it represents a kind of cultural and ecological heritage we are losing in plain sight. Once these symbols fade, they are gone for generations, if they return at all. Their disappearance erodes not only ecosystems, but also the shared visual language through which we understand the beauty and fragility of our planet. Stockholm's drought adds another layer to the climate narrative, shattering the illusion that some regions can remain insulated from the worst effects. Climate change does not respect geography. It exploits vulnerabilities. Whether through flooding in coastal megacities, wildfires in Mediterranean forests, or water shortages in Nordic capitals. In each case, adaptation becomes a necessity, but adaptation without mitigation is a losing game. Building desalination plants, rationing water, or fortifying coasts may help in the short term, but without addressing the root cause, unchecked greenhouse gas emissions, such measures are akin to bailing water from a sinking ship without patching the hole. The science is unequivocal. The technology to act exists. The question is whether political will can match the scale of the crisis. International forums, like the upcoming COP30 in Brazil, will once again become stages for pledges, targets, and debates over financing climate action. But as the heat maps turn redder, as landmarks fade, and as water shortages spread to once stable regions, the demand for action grows louder, not from negotiators in conference halls, but from the lived reality of millions. For now, the Heart of Voh still beats. Stockholm still draws water from Lake Mälaren, and the world still has a narrowing window to act. But the trajectory is clear. What happens in the next 5 to 10 years will determine whether these stories become rare warnings that spurred a global course correction, or the first chapters in a much longer record of loss. Climate change is no longer about the future. It is the present, and it is writing itself into every corner of the planet. Mahabahu.com is an online magazine with a collection of premium Assamese and English articles and posts with a cultural base and modern thinking. You can send your articles to editor@mahabahu.com or editor@mahabahu.com. For Assamese articles, Unicode font is necessary. Images from different sources.